Mukul Kanetkar ji, I feel a sense of awe in terms of the way how I can explain his contribution to the academic fraternity and society in general. I'll say only few words. I'll share only few informations. Number one, I would like to share that he is a transformational leader in many sense, and transformational, and not in terms of only the systems and processes, but in terms of raising the consciousness. So he has inspired so many academicians and the researchers in India and across the world to look at the indigenous research and to conduct research which takes into account and get inspired by the Indian wisdom. He is also the instrumental in setting up the world record of the highest number of people doing yoga practice on a day in 2005 in MP. In Gwalior, he was based at Gwalior. The highest number of people at the same time conducted Surya Namaskar. So that is one of his achievements. He is the Sangathan Mantri of Bharatiya Shikshan Mandal, and he is also the inspiration behind Research for Resurgence Foundation. Research for Resurgence Foundation is a multidisciplinary institution. Currently it is getting established, and it is aimed at contributing to all the major fields of science by looking at and by integration of the ancient wisdom with the contemporary knowledge systems. So with these few words, I know these are very, very few in terms of how his personality and his contribution can be explained, but with these few words, I would like to request Mukul Kanetkar ji to address the audience.
नमस्ते आशीष जी, सभी को प्रणाम. I was just asking Sushma ji whether Hindi will suffice or I have to speak in English, because I have no problem with any language. पर योग के बारे में हिंदी में अधिक अच्छी तरह से अभिव्यक्ति हो सकती है, इसलिए मैं ये प्रश्न पूछ रहा था. Are there many people who don't understand Hindi, or they have to speak in English only? What is Ashish ji? What is your take?
So there are 30% people from the 30-40% from the south of India. So I am assuming that at least 50% of them must be well versed with Hindi, at least in terms of understanding. And I'm assuming that the rest of the people, most of them will be able to understand.
So I will mix it up.
I am seeing only few comments that I do not know Hindi by Ms. Iyer. Very few comments. Only one comment has been there.
Okay.
तत्कर्मयन्न बंधाय साविद्याया विमुक्तये आयासाया परम कर्म विद्यान्या शिल्प नैपुणम्. कर्म वही है जो बंधन में न बांधे, विद्या वही है जो मुक्त करे. अन्य सभी कर्म व्यर्थ का प्रयास है और अन्य सभी विद्याएं केवल कारीगरी है. This is a beautiful couplet, a shloka from Vishnu Purana, which explains not only the definition of vidya, that is education, but it also gives definition of action and the correlation between action and education. And that's why we in Bharatiya Shikshan Mandal call it Dheya Shloka, a shloka that explains the aims and objectives of Bharatiya Shikshan Mandal in one go. And that's why most of the time I start my deliberations with this beautiful shloka, which says, action is one which does not bind. Action is one which does not bind. And education is that which liberates. They have used sa, ya. So it is that directly it is the correlation. Education is that which liberates and action is that which does not bind. इसलिए इस विषय को अच्छी तरह से समझना हम सबके लिए बहुत आवश्यक है. शिक्षा का उद्देश्य ही यह है कि मनुष्य को इस प्रकार के कर्म करने के लिए तैयार करे कि जिस कर्म में वह फंसे नहीं. That is the essence of education. So that a human being is able to do karma, action, without getting bound by it. That is the crux of the whole education. I will not go into my favorite subject, whether today's education is doing it or not. We all know it's not doing it because it is not aimed at it. It is not doing it because it does not know it has to do it. आज की विद्या मुक्त नहीं कर रही है क्योंकि उसको मुक्त करना नहीं है. मुक्त करने के लिए वो है ही नहीं. It is not designed for that purpose. And when something is not designed with that purpose, how can we expect to do it to do that? इसलिए I will not go into that subject of mine, which is a very favorite subject, because I am working on that. हम शिक्षा के गुरुकुलीकरण पे काम कर रहे हैं और हम चाहते हैं कि शिक्षा ऐसी ही हो, चाहे फिर वो IIT की शिक्षा हो, चाहे प्राइमरी शिक्षा हो. वह विद्या बने, वह मुक्त करे. It should liberate from all kinds of bondages. Whether the bondage is of ignorance, whether the bondage is of poverty, whether the bondage is of not being able to take decision, the capacity to take decision, discrimination, viveka. चाहे जो विवेक शून्यता का बंधन हो, चाहे निर्धनता का बंधन हो, चाहे अज्ञान का बंधन हो, education should be aimed at liberating from that, but it is not today, and Bharatiya Shikshan Mandal is working for doing that, and Research for Resurgence Foundation is one of the very important aspects by which this can be done, because we consider research is the best and only pedagogy of education. Research is not part of education. Research is the education. इसलिए प्राथमिक कक्षा से, right from the KG, and that's what we do. In fact, हम सब लोग जब पूर्व प्राथमिक कक्षाओं में गए होंगे, मैं तो नहीं गया, मैं तो सीधे पहली कक्षा में गया. Anything that we have known till date, anything that we say I have knowledge of, जिस भी बात के बारे में मैं कहता हूं कि मुझे ज्ञान है, वह मैंने अनुभूति से ही प्राप्त किया है. That is the only way. Experience is the only way to realize knowledge. And if experience is the only way to realize knowledge, then it has to be done through research. There is no other way. When we were discussing about the logo of Research for Resurgence Foundation, everybody said there should be some Sanskrit words in the logo. So we were trying to find out which part of shloka will become befitting for Research for Resurgence Foundation, its aims, objectives, and functions. So I discussed with many language experts and how can we translate research into. हिंदी में हम अनुसंधान शब्द का प्रयोग करते हैं, मराठी में संशोधन शब्द का प्रयोग करते हैं, गुजराती में संशोधन शब्द का प्रयोग करते हैं. There is another word, शोध. In Sanskrit there are many other words, gaveshana, anveshanam. There are so many words which are depicting the meaning of research. इस शोध की प्रक्रिया के अनेक बातों को लेकर के शब्द संस्कृत में उपलब्ध हैं. तो इन शब्दों को लेकर के कोई वाक्य दिया जाए, बोध वाक्य, उसमें लोगों में, ऐसा बोध चिन्ह में. That was the thinking. But I went deeper, and when I went yogastha, when I went inside within the buddhi, before doing karma, Bhagavan Shri Krishna is saying, yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Every action, if you are not to be bound by the action, should be done yogastha. Yogastha means being completely established in yoga, being totally founded without any doubt in yoga. योगस्थ, योग में स्थित होना. आजकल हम वेलनेस शब्द का बहुत प्रयोग करते हैं. वेलनेस शब्द का संस्कृत क्या होगा मुझे पता नहीं, शायद सुख हो सकता है, किंतु हमारे यहाँ जो शब्द है वह शब्द है स्वस्थ। भगवत गीता में शब्द प्रयोग किया है स्वस्थ। स्थितप्रज्ञ के लक्षण के वर्णन में भी किया है, भक्त के लक्षण के वर्णन में भी किया है, और कर्मयोगी की अंतिम स्थिति के वर्णन में भी किया है। द वर्ड दे हैव यूज्ड इज स्वस्थ फॉर हेल्थ। स्वास्थ्य इज बीइंग यूज्ड इन भारतीय लैंग्वेजेस। सो स्वास्थ्य is comes from swastha. One who is swastha has the quality of swasthya. Swasthya is the attribute. When it is acquired, you become swastha. So definition of health, definition of being healthy, swastha, ये क्या है भारत में? Swami Vivekananda was speaking in London, and in his London speech he said, we Hindus, we Sanatanis are so spiritual that even while greeting each other, जब हम एक दूसरे को नमस्ते करते हैं, अब तो सारी दुनिया नमस्ते कर रही कोविड के कारण, लेकिन हम जब एक दूसरे को नमस्ते करते हैं, नमस्ते, when we realize the divinity within other and bow to that divinity, हम जब हम नमस्ते करते हैं, when we greet each other, Swami Vivekananda says we ask a very pertinent spiritual question. हम एक अत्यंत आध्यात्मिक परीक्षा करते हैं। क्या प्रश्न पूछते हैं? स्वामी विवेकानंद ने शब्द प्रयोग किया, we ask the other person, are you upon yourself? When I read it for the first time in English, I was surprised. What is this? Are you upon yourself? क्या आप अपने आप में हैं? What do Swami ji mean? There is no Sanskrit greeting for that. Namaste does not mean it. Namaskar does not mean it. We say Jai Shri Krishna. We say Radhe Radhe. We say Ram Ram. It does not mean that. Ram Ram is, are you engaged in something? Ram Ram. Ramante iti Rama. So, that is, there are different. I ask my Bengali friends whether in Bangla there is some greeting which means, are you upon yourself? And then, suddenly, while I was cycling to my college, during that process of cycling, as Professor Rao said, physical activity में दिमाग बहुत अच्छा चलता है. When you are cycling, your mind is more creative. और उस समय स्वामी विवेकानंद का अर्थ मुझे एकदम स्पष्ट हुआ. ट्यूबलाइट जली आश्चर्यवत पश्यति कश्चितेन आश्चर्यवत वदति तथैव चान्यः. With that awe, I understood, oh, he means, are you healthy? हम एक दूसरे को मिलते ही पूछते हैं, तबियत पानी केम छे? गुजराती वाला पूछेगा, मराठी वाला पूछेगा तबियत ठीक है ना, और हिंदी वाला पूछेगा स्वास्थ्य ठीक है. केवल कोरोना के समय नहीं, सामान्य रूप से भी मिलते हैं, तब we ask them, how is, are you healthy? And then I understood Swami Vivekananda is referring to the word swastha. क्या आप स्व में स्थित है? Are you upon yourself? Are you completely established in swa, in your own self? If that is, then only you are swastha. And that is the purpose of yoga. Not just the physical activity, not just the postures, not the breathing exercises as they call them. Pranayama is not breathing exercises. I call them shvasayama. What we do today is shvasayama, not pranayama. Pranayama is going at the pranic level, understanding prana, experiencing prana, realizing prana, the prana shakti, the vitality. सूर्य से जो शक्ति हम प्राप्त कर रहे हैं, अन्न से जो निकाल रहे हैं, और प्राणवायु जिसको अन्न से मुक्त करने में हमारी मदद कर रहा है, जो प्राण त्रिदिवे यत प्रतिष्ठितम, तीनों लोगों को व्याप्त करके सब कुछ घटित जिससे हो रहा है. They have not understood that prana. J.C. Bose के बाद में किसी ने उस पर प्रयास भी नहीं किया. J.C. Bose worked on it and he proved that even the plant kingdom has prana. प्राणी में तो शब्द ही प्राणी है, इसलिए animals are having life or prana was established because they move around. But it was not established scientifically that even the plants have prana, even the plants have life. And even being a physicist, Jagdish Chandra Basu did that and established that even the plants have prana. And his next experiment was on metals. He is the pioneer who gave the concept of metal fatigue. उन्होंने बताया कि धातु भी थकते हैं भाई. आपके घर में जो सरिया लगा है कंक्रीट में, वो थकेगा, एक दिन गिरेगा. This concept of metal fatigue in physics was given by J.C. Basu. And not only that, he went ahead and he was doing experiment of cyanide on ferrous. And he proved that when cyanide, that poison is put on ferrous, that is iron rod, the iron rod knows that it is poison and it vibrates. Jagdish Chandra Basu presented this experiment in Royal Society, London. But more than 113 years and we have done nothing. The physics has done nothing to go ahead and prove prana. Unless we prove prana, somewhere in 1970s, this concept of Kirlian photography was there. There is some Russian photographer, Kirlian. He photographed the bioenergy and many of us were thrilled. And the yogis started working on Kirlian photography, and then it was not very scientific as it came out. But if in the physical world, that is, now we are talking about plasma, now we are talking about giving life to the plasma, now we are talking about giving artificial intelligence to plasma, plasma-based computation is coming up. With all these experiments of machine and man coming together, this establishment of prana and quantification of prana का मापन, प्राण को समझना, physically प्राण को समझ पाना, I think that would be the greatest disruptive technology which is in the offing. But how many are working on that? And why we are not working that? Today's my whole presentation hinges on that very important point. What kind of a resurgence is needed in the research of yoga? We have been doing a lot of research in yoga. Kaivalya Dham Lonavala is one of the oldest institutes which has been working on yoga from very scientific point of view. And when we say scientific point of view, we mean that proving, validating our yogic things from the Western scientific methodologies. And that's what we are expert and we have done it. With using of polygraphs, with using of ECG, EEG and blood pressure and all the modern medicinal clinical equipments, diagnostic equipments, we have proved how the yogic exercises affect the body. That we have proved beyond doubt, and hence the modern medicine, the textbooks of modern medicine today talk about yoga as a therapy for psychosomatic diseases. We have established it world over, and one of the very important reasons why it was accepted by more than 171 countries, signed on the proposal of making International Yoga Day, one of the main reasons was this scientific research which has been happening for more than 60, 70 years now in Bharat and outside, which proved yogic practices, validated them from the Western point of view, Western scientific point of view. I am talking about paradigm shift by the yogis. I am talking about your viewpoint is dependent on your standpoint. Today you are standing in the Europe, you are standing in the West and looking at yoga from the Western point of view. And that's why your standpoint is the West, and hence you are looking at the East from the Western viewpoint. And that's how the whole research is going on. When is IIT and a premier institute like IIT should do something out of box, should do something else, rather than working on how Ujjayi will affect the blood flow, or how Nadi Shuddhi or Anulom Vilom will calm down the pulse rate. That is done more than 70, 80 times all over the world. Australia, they are doing it. Germany, they are doing it. US, they are doing it. In Bharat, lots of institutes are doing it. Thousands of PhDs have been done on that. On the psychological side, very few things have been done, but have been done. Again, validating the yogic Chitta Vritti Nirodha concept from the Western point of view. Psychosomatic diseases we have talked about, psychological disorders we have talked about. There have been a lot of research in NIMHANS about how it will affect the special kids, mentally retarded and all those autistics and all that. That has been done plenty of time. It is going on. But what is not happening is looking at the world from the yogic point of view. What is pratyahara? How it affects? And we started with Karma Yoga. I started with the definition of karma. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Shri Krishna speaks three things very prominently when he talks about Karma Yoga. First thing is, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krut. You cannot be without doing action. You cannot be idle even for a second. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krut. So, human being is bound to act. And that is what Patanjali calls vritteyaha. Vritteyaha panchaha klishtaha klishtaha. These 5 vrittis is how the mind works. The mind is always working. When you are saying nahi kaschit shranamati jatu tishtatya karma krut, even if you are lying down in sleeping, your mind is working. In fact, the polygraph shows when you sleep, your mental activity, your brain activity increases. So sleeping is also not inaction. In fact, inaction is not possible. Right from the birth or even before the birth, prenatal stages, you start kicking your womb, a mother from the womb. And the action starts even from within the womb and continues till Anteshti. Continues till the last rites. So, nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krut is the first thing. The second is you have got a choice. Whether you will be drawn into action and drawn into action by the prakriti jair gunaihi, prakrite havashak karma. This sattva tama, this will draw into karma, and you will do karma without your own liberty, without your own choice, and follow the sattva tama. That is the second thing Bhagavan Shri Krishna says. And hence, you have to take a call and decide, I will do karma with my choice. And if I have to do karma with my choice, then that is karma yoga. Then I have to do it asangaha, without getting involved, without getting attached. That unattached karma is the only karma which is karma without bondage. And education is aimed at equipping every human being to do karma without bondage. That is karma yoga, how it is explained. Now, with these principles of karma yoga, can we design the management models? Rather than taking the Western models of management and finding something in Bhagavad Gita and calling it Gita in management, in fact, it is management in Gita. You take the leadership theories from the West. You take in education. You take Bloomberg Bloom's taxonomy, and then you apply Bloom's taxonomy and find out in Bhagavad Gita it is also given. That's not the way to go. Bhagavad Gita gives you principles of life management. Bhagavad Gita tells you how to do this nishkama karma, niyatam kuru karmatvam. If you do the ordained action, you will not kilbisham, you will not get bounded by it. You will not get the effect of it. You will come out of the chain of cause and effect. It will not create a new cause. Your karma will not become a new cause for another effect. That chain will be broken. That beauty is shown in the... So to be yogastha, to be swastha, you have to create working models. How this theory of karma yoga can be applied in business. How this theory of karma yoga can be applied into action. Then it will be real research from Bharatiya point of view. There is Kaivalya Samadhi, there is Sabija Samadhi, Nirbija Samadhi, there is Sayujya, Sanidhya. When are we going to talk about these Samadhis, these meditative, not just practices, not just Yoga Abhyasa? We have worked so much on Yoga Abhyasa. When are we going to work on Yoga Darshana? To be Yogastha, we have to work on Yoga Darshana. How it is seen. And if we have to work on the Ashtanga Yoga Darshana, if we have to work on Yama Niyama, how we can apply Yama Niyama as a vision and mission of our work. We have to create models on that. So I want to state here that the Yogastha Club in IIT should work in a form that in every science, in every humanities subject, in every faculty of education and every walk of life, let us apply the principles of yoga through research. Not just yoga abhyasa, not just asana pranayam, not just the dharana, which we call meditation. No, the practices of dharana, not just that we have done a lot, done a plenty. It is going on. Let everybody do that. But can this conference change the standpoint? Start standing firmly. Stha, yoga stha means being firm. Swastha, stha means being established, being firm. Can we stand firmly in Bharatiyata? And from Bharatiya standpoint, we look at the world and create a Bharatiya viewpoint, a yogic viewpoint of looking at things. Yogic pedagogy, yogic taxonomy. This, can we develop that? Can we develop this epistemology based on yoga? Can we develop this beautiful Antakarana Chatushtaya, how it works? How Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Aham works, and how it can be applied into a taxonomy, applied into a pedagogy which will create real education, Muktakari Shiksha. Our way of looking at health sciences, the paradigm has to shift from just treating things, from just therapeutic. Yoga as a therapy, I am really very sad when I say this is trivializing yoga. Yoga is not for curing blood pressure. Yoga is not for curing diabetes. No, that is only the side effect of yoga. That is only the byproduct. That is not the main thing. Main thing is chitta vritti nirodha. You have to have ananda. Anandamiti anandam. That is the purpose. Bliss is the purpose of life, human life. Klesha tanukaranarthe. That is the word used by Patanjali. Not just stress relieving. Tanukarana, it has to be sublimated. The stress has to be completely sublimated, the sublimation of stress, so that you become permanent sukhi. The sukha is permanent, sukha becomes permanent, then it is ananda. Tato dvandvanabhighataha. Even the asana, even the posture cannot be mastered if you are not ananta samapattibhyam tato dvandvana abhighataha. If the duality does not go away, your asana is not perfected, is not siddha. Patanjali, I am not quoting anybody else. Sthira sukham asanam, but then the next step is ananta samapattibhyam tato dvandvana abhighata. So only just being stable in one posture is not asana. Unless your mind is so calm that it becomes one with ananta, that it becomes one with the infinite. Now this is the way karma has to be done. Not just postures. When you get siddha, when you become siddha in a posture, when the asana is completely mastered, every action is mastered. Then you are not perturbed in doing any action because there is no dvandva, there is no raga dvesha, there is no like and dislike. You go beyond like and dislike. Why? Because you are doing karma, kuru niyatam karma. So that is the beauty, this beautiful definition of karma given in Bhagavad Gita, which is misinterpreted as definition of yoga. Yoga karmasu kaushalam is not definition of yoga. Yoga karmasu kaushalam is definition of karma. Because take the full couplet, buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrite tasmat yogaya yujjasva yoga karmasu kaushalam. Your karma is kushal if you are completely yogastha, if you are completely one with yoga, buddhi yukta, your buddhi, your decision making power, your choice of karma is through yoga. is for klesha tanukaranarthe. Your vrittis become aklishta. They don't get entangled. They are not tangled into it. Even the pramana, even the right knowledge can be klishta if it is not targeted. So, widely misinterpreted shloka of Bhagavad Gita is one is that karma phala thing, that is widely misinterpreted. Bhagavan Shri Krishna is not saying don't bother about the result. He is saying that you don't have any right over the result. Karmani eva adhikaraste. It is only in your adhikara that you can do action. The phala is not in your adhikara. It is a statement of fact. It is not a upadesha. It is not a teaching. It is a statement of fact. What is upadesha? Hence, you should not run away from karma and not do it for the result. Ma karma phala hetur bhu mate sangostu karmani. That is the teaching. The first line is not teaching. The first line is statement of fact. It is a premise on which the next conclusion is drawn. The premise says you don't have control over phala. You don't have control over the result of action. You have only the control over action. Hence, don't keep phala as your objective. Ma karma phala hetur bhu. Karma phala hetu bhu ma. Don't be karma phala hetu bhu. So don't do action with an aim and objective of result. Do it as kartavya. Do it as dharma. Do it as your duty. That is the upadesha. The upadesha is not that don't worry about result. No, never it is said. In fact, when he is saying prakrite yavashak karma, he is saying that you have to do karma with your own choice. It has to be productive. It has to be targeted. It has to be aimed. Life has to have an aim. You are born with an aim. And if you don't understand that aim, whole of your yoga practices are useless. Unless you know who am I? What is the purpose of my life? What I have come to do in this life, in this period that is given to me? What is my karma? What is my niyatam karma? What is my ordained karma? What is my dharma karma? What is my duty? What is mama dharma? If I don't do that, and with that clarity, he has used the word professionalism. Bhagavan Shri Krishna has used the word professionalism in Adhyaya 2. The second chapter, he says, Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kurunandana. By concentrating the professional buddhi, the decision-making buddhi, the aim, the buddhi which is targeted at an aim, laksha prerita buddhi. And with that buddhi yoga, if you do work, ubhe jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrite, then this buddhi yoga, the karma done with buddhi yoga is capable of burning both sukrita and dushkrita, both good and bad deed. It will go beyond that. Hence, do karma with yoga. That is the definition of kushala karma. Then you are a skillful actor. Not actor in the sense in which the Bollywood uses it. One who is doing action. You are a skillful doer. You are a skillful valor, parakrami. आपका पुरुषार्थ, आपका पराक्रम वह कुशलता पूर्वक हो जाता है जब योग के साथ कर्म किया जाता है. So yoga karma su koshalam is not definition of yoga. कुशलता से किया गया कर्म योग है is a wrong definition. It is a grammatically wrong interpretation of that shloka. When you do karma with yoga, then the karma is a kushala. It is the definition of kushalata. It is the definition of dexterity. It is the definition of doing right action in a right way, processes. Now this is processes management. This is total quality management, 3 steps ahead. It is beyond the TQM, 3 steps ahead. If the IIT's School of Management, Shailesh Mehta, what is the full name of that School of Management where Ashish ji is working? If the IIT School of Management is not able to give a perfect management model based on this, then what research we are doing? So the research for resurgence in yoga is reversing the gaze. We have to reverse the gaze. Now we have to look from the Bharatiya standpoint to the Western world and tell them this is not health, what you are talking about. It is treatment. So using yoga for treatment is not giving something. It is trivializing, it is diminishing the grandeur and greatness of yoga, the capacity of yoga. I always give a simple illustration that on a Shivaratri, a Shiva Bhakta went to a jungle, a deserted Shivalinga. It is said in Shiva Purana that on Shivaratri night, if you worship a deserted Shivalinga, which has not been worshipped for ages together, for years together, you will get what you want. That is what they say. And this Bhakta, believing completely, having Shraddha, found out a Shivalinga which was not worshipped for 13 years. And he said, on Mahashivratri I will worship here. He goes there with a lot of Bilvadala. And on Mahashivratri, Om Namah Shivaya and everything, he does the Archana. And by the morning, when it is ready that Shiva will come before him and give him boon. He is doing it for Shiva to give him darshana, Shiva to come in front of him, and he will ask for some boon. That is his purpose. That is his artha. For that he is doing the worship whole night. After the fourth yama, the fourth part of night is over, his Abhisheka is over, Shiva is going to come in front of him. Shiva comes and asks this Bhakta, ask me what do you want? Just a few minutes before, 2 minutes, 3 minutes before Shiva's appearance, Sakshat appearance in front of him, just 2-3 minutes before, some insect has bitten him on the back. And at a place where his hand cannot go, where his palm cannot go, and there is lot of irritation. खुजली हो रही है, पीठ पे ऐसी जगह खुजली हो रही है जहां हाथ नहीं पहुंचता. और 2 मिनट बाद शिवजी प्रकट होकर के पूछ रहे, give me boon. And this Bhakta, the most urgent work at that time is the irritation that is happening, the inflammation that has happened because of the bite of an insect. And because of that inflammation, there is an irritation. वो शिवजी को हाथ जोड़ करके कहता है, मेरी खुजली मिटा दो. Please treat my irritation. Shiva says, Tathastu, and goes away. Whole of your sadhana is wasted in curing a small irritation. खुजली मिटाने के लिए योग है क्या भाई? When it can give you eternal bliss, Bhagavan Ashutosh can give one who can be pleased very easily. Ashutosh means, Ashu means in a minute, in a second, and Tosh means pleased. One who can be pleased in no time is coming before you and asking you, what do you want? That is yoga. That is yoga can give you anything in life it can give. So let us reverse the gaze. This is the resurgence that I am talking about in research, in every science, because today's Yogastha conference, I am talking about the yogic research. Give health this beautiful definition of swastha and how to become swastha. Give modern medicine that definition. Look at the world from Yama Niyama point of view. What is Shaucha? You are talking about quarantine today. Maharishi Patanjali talked about quarantine so many years back. Niyama, it is part of Niyama. So I started with that Bodh Chinna, that logo of Research for Resurgence Foundation, when we are trying to find out what is the real term which can be used in Sanskrit for research. When I went Yogastha, when I went in, I got the term, beautiful term from Upanishad, that is the pedagogy of every knowledge, pedagogy of seeking knowledge, pedagogy of realizing knowledge, pedagogy, the basic pedagogy of education, which is tapaha. Tapasa brahma vijitnyasa swaha. Tapa is the only way by which you can understand knowledge. So I said research is tapa. And so our Bodha Chinna, the logo of Research for Resurgence Foundation, RFRF, says tapo moolam hi sadhanam. This is what Vyasa Maharshi is telling in Mahabharata. Tapa is the basis of everything. Whatever you want, you can get through tapa. Tapo moolam hi sadhanam. Tapa is one of the niyama. Saucha santosh tapas swadhyaya. So quarantine is there. rigor. Today we call it academic rigor. If you have to do PhD, you have to undergo the academic rigor. That is tapa. तप के बिना ज्ञान नहीं होता, इसलिए तप करना पड़ेगा. Look at the world from Bharatiya point of view. Look at the world from yoga point of view, from the yoga darshana point of view, from the Patanjali's viewpoint. Look at the yoga psychology. The whole psychology will change once you understand mana through Patanjali. Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, and all these Fitzgerald, they cannot explain mind. Mind has been explained beautifully by Patanjali, and very beautifully by Vasishtha, and most scientifically by Bhagavan Shri Krishna. The whole of Bhagavad Gita, it's a life science. And I pity these intellectuals. It's a very strong emotion. I know pity is not a very good emotion. It is the most negative emotion, and a Asthita Prajna should not have pity. Should have compassion but not pity. But I pity these so-called intellectuals today, those who have this beautiful science of life and do not study it from our own point of view, because that needs tapa. Tapa is needed to understand yoga. Tapa is needed to understand Bhagavad Gita. Tapa is needed to realize Bhagavad Gita and then apply it to the modern sciences. Apply it to physics and it will become Vaisheshika. Apply it to chemistry and it will become the real Rasa Shastra. Yes, the day before yesterday in Gita Swadhyaya I was explaining the beautiful shloka, 13th or 14th shloka from the 15th chapter, which talks about Somo Bhutva Rasatmakaha. This beauty of how this rasa work, how this chemistry of the universe works. Bhagavan Shri Krishna explains in 2 couplets the beauty of life. Pranavidya Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha. What a beauty Bhagavad Gita is. It gives everything, all sciences. Somebody commented, are you a Bhagavad Gita expert or a physics expert? One day I was explaining Ayurveda, one day I was explaining the Sharira Shastra. How the whole structure of body, anatomy works through Bhagavad Gita. And the professor of biology, they said in the comment on the YouTube, I said, no, I am not professor of biology. I have understood only Bhagavad Gita. I have understood is also a big statement. I am trying to understand. I am studying Bhagavad Gita. I am doing Swadhyaya of Bhagavad Gita, and that gives me whole knowledge of the world. That kind of a science we have got. That is Yogastha. So research for resurgence. This resurgence is the paradigm shift of viewpoint. And the paradigm shift of viewpoint, this reversing of gaze, what Raju Malhotraji calls, will happen only if we change our standpoint and we become stha, established. Grihastha is one who stays in griha. Yogastha is one who is established in yoga. Swastha is one who is established in himself. Swasthita, swastha. So let us be Bharatastha. One of our friends from Ujjain says, I am Swargiya. I said, how you are Swargiya? He said, I have created Swarga around me. I have created heaven around me. So, living Swargiya, because I live in Bharata, I am called Bharatiya. In the same way, I am living in Swarga. That's why I am Swargiya. So, like that, we have to become Bharatastha. Our standpoint should become Bharatiya. Then our viewpoint will become Bharatiya. Then our whole research topics will get reversed. We'll talk about karma. With buddhi, that is yoga. Yoga of buddhi and karma. Yoga of viveka and karma. Yoga of choices. That makes you human. The dog does not have a choice of action. I will complete. My time is up. I will complete with this example. Dog does not have a choice of action, because if you throw a pebble at dog, it will bark, it will bite, or it will run away. Only 3 choices. There is no 4th choice. But if you throw a pebble, hit somebody with stone, a human being, what you will do? Leave alone anybody else. What you will do if somebody hits you with stone? You cannot reply, because you have got infinite choices. Your options are infinite. You will ask, who is throwing at me? Who is hitting me? And what is his purpose? What is his objective? Why he is doing that?
you will have 100 questions, and even then you cannot guarantee I will act or react like this, because human being has a choice of karma. Every second we have to choose, and that choice needs dexterity, kushalam, and that kushalam will happen if our choice is buddhi yukta. Buddhi yukta means yoga, in yoga with buddhi, in conjecture with buddhi. Which buddhi? Viveka buddhi. Shara akshara vivekaha, aishvara nashvara vivekaha. What is transient and what is permanent, that viveka. And that is the purpose of education, and it can happen through tapa only. And that tapa, that rigor, has to become the pedagogy of education. That is the purpose of Research for Resurgence Foundation. And let this 3-day conference not be one of the many, adding to what already has been done from the Western point of view into the Bharatiya things. Let us change the paradigm and reverse the gaze, and do it from Bharatiya standpoint, with a Bharatiya viewpoint. Let us not research in yoga from other medical sciences or from psychology or things like that. Let us do research in psychology from yoga point of view. Let us do research in management. Wrong, where virology went wrong from the yoga point of view, and then we'll get our answers. Then we'll know why Shaucha was not followed in Wuhan, and that's why we have corona. What kind of Shaucha should have been followed? The internal and external Shaucha. Let us apply our parameters on the present day problem. That is the real research. Bharatiya viewpoint in research. That is Research for Resurgence. With these words, I end my narration. Thank you.
So, thanks very much for inspiring and giving the direction. We are listening to you, and this is, I have been fortunate to interact with you on several occasions. And many of us are now realize that it is a time to look at, to realize our real self. And the real self means not only the internal real self, but the cultural real self as well. That is Bharatiyata. Or from that perspective, we need to look at the questions of the current times. With our limited capacity, we are trying to do it in this conference. And that's why the very next session is on philosophical and conceptual research